Hi, welcome to my presentation. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our group trip going to Alaska. This should be an info session, and hopefully at the end we can take some questions if you have them. Just want to talk to you a little bit about it, introduce myself. My name is Mark Carpenter, and some of you know me because most of the people I've invited to this are people I know. Some of you people may know me as Beau. That's my gaming name, and I have some gaming friends that I sent this to. So y'all don't be confused. We're the same people. Um, so I started the company Sea Summits and Skies back in January. One of the reasons why is I had just gotten back from a trip from Norway in September, and I really caught the travel bug, and I thought, this might be something you want to do when you retire in 5 or 6 years. So I'm going to just start it and get it going. So by the time I retire from my full-time gig, um, I wanted to be able to do this full time. One of my favorite places to visit though is Alaska. It was one of the greatest vacations that I ever went on. I went with a group of about 12 people, and I just really had a good time. And I've always said I want to go back to Alaska. So that's one of the reasons why I put the group together. So a little bit of um, information here on some of the things that you'll see that come from me, especially if you place a reservation. You may see Cornerstone. Cornerstone's down here. Um, you may see something from Cornerstone. They are my hosting agency rather. Um, in this day and time, when you become a travel agent, you work through a hosting agency, and they're a member of like a bigger like conglomerate of people that get travel from other how to explain it. Anyway, they belong to a larger organizations that buy bulk trips. One of the other things that they do is they train travel agents. They give us insurance. So if something goes up, we're insured. Um, they also give us some of the tools that we need to book the travel. So just a little bit about that so you don't get confused if you see that. So let me tell you about our cruise. Um, it's September 9th through the 16th, and that is 2027. And we'll talk a little bit later why we're booking it so far in advance. It's round trip and it's from Seattle and it's on the Carnival Spirit. A little bit about the Carnival Spirit. You can see the stats there. This is the ship that I went to Alaska on, so I know the ship very well. Um, it was dry docked last year where they did a lot of renovations on it. They did some renovations on the rooms. They had some restaurants. They added some bars. So it's been refreshed. It's a new experience. But this ship was great because it's not one of those mega ships. It's a large ship, but you can maneuver into places where those big ships can't go. There were lots of places on the deck and inside where you were able to look out and enjoy Alaska. It's just a really good ship to do something like that on. So it starts off in Seattle. Um, One of the things that we all recommend now in the travel industry is that you arrive at your port a day ahead of time. Um, people, people that in the last few weeks have had problems with TSA and long lines, um, have found this out quickly. Um, if you arrive the day ahead, you can go to Seattle. You can go to the marketplace. You can grab Starbucks. You can see what all Seattle's about. And you can rest assured that you're there and will be on time for your cruise. So This particular cruise, it is going to cruise the Inside Passage. The Inside Passage is is the um, is the route between Seattle, Vancouver, and Vancouver that goes up this way and all the way up to Skagway. As you can see, you have islands on the side to the west, and most of the trip is protected from, the big waves of the ocean. And so one of the great things about this particular cruise is you're not going to find that the boat's going to move very much. It's because you're protected on both sides. And as you're going up the passage, there's scenery on both sides most of the time. Um, One of the routes that they take from Seattle is going up by Vancouver over through the Strait of Georgia, all the way up to Skagway. Another way that they do it is they go the ocean route and they go west of Vancouver Island and then they go back into the Inside Passage here. Usually that's the way um, that they come back to Seattle. So one of the first stops on the cruise will be the glaciers. Now, on the itinerary, it says Tracy Arm Fjord, and if you've been watching the news, um, back in 2025, there was a landslide, and it's keeping large ships from being able to go to see that particular fjord. Um, this year, I know Princess and Carnival both have elected to go to Dawes Glacier instead. I honestly don't think that they're going to have that cleared up by 2027. I think we will probably see Dawes Glacier or another glacier. There's plenty of glaciers to see. So I just want to let you know that you might not see Tracy's Arm. I think you'll have to be on a really small, like charter ship or one that's high luxury to be able to go to see that. The next place will be Skagway. I really enjoyed Skagway. It's sort of a old west gold rush looking town. One of the most popular things to do there, one of the excursions, is the White Pass and Yukon route. And you jump on a train and you go through the scenic mountains all the way to Yukon, and then you do a U-turn and come back. It's some of the most magnificent scenery um, that you can do in Alaska. So the next place is Juneau. Of course, Juneau is the capital of Alaska. This is where, when I was in Juneau, I went and did whale watching, and it was really really cool to see all the whales. I got to see my first live whale. Um, Sea lions, all kinds of birds. There were eagles. It just a lot of wildlife on that particular excursion. And that excursion is a little bit expensive. So if you want to do that, know that you'll probably need to plan to save some money to do that. A lot of people choose to go to Mendenhall Glacier. One of the excursions means that they have is you get in a helicopter and they take you out to the glacier, and you can walk on it, ski on it. Um, and Juneau is just a really cool town. Funny story, the last time I was in Juneau, Sarah Palin was announced as the vice presidential candidate. So that tells you when I was there last time. Ketchikan is a really cool town. It's sort of a Wild West vibe. Um, Lots of Native American culture. You'll see totems there. One of the most popular excursions there is the Great Alaska Lumberjack Show, and I'm showing you that on the picture. I didn't go to that. Some of the friends that were with me on that group tour went on that, and they absolutely loved it. What I did instead is I didn't book an excursion for that one, and we walked around town, and we were able to go to a wildlife sanctuary where danger, I'm sorry, injured animals were taken. And I was able to see several bald eagles, um, saw some owls. One of the cool things about this time of year that we would be going in Ketchikan is they have streams that run through town. And when I was there, I walked up to one of the streams and I thought, what is this plant that's taking over these streams? And as I got closer and I saw it moving, and it wasn't plants, it was salmon swimming upstream, just thousands and thousands of salmon. So this will be the same time of year that I was there last. So we should be able to see the salmon, hopefully. And then the final stop will be Victoria, British Columbia. I've never been there. I hear it's sort of European looking. Um, Lots of museums, lots of good shopping there. I'm looking forward to going there because I've never been there before. One of the things that you might want to know though is because it does stop in Canada, you will need a passport for this particular trip. Another thing, Canada is getting really picky about people who have, I hate to say this, who have convictions in their past. Not that I know that that I know has convictions in the past, but even things like DUIs when they were a teenager, or not teenager, but of legal age when they were young, those things pop up and they're not letting people in. So one of the things you need to know is if you have anything in your past like that, you need to go to the Canadian equivalent to the State Department and look up the information on what you need to do to clear that up before you go on the cruise so you won't be stopped before you get on the boat. So just a little word of wisdom there. So here are some of the benefits of group travel. When as well as a tour guide is what I would be called or host. I'm the one who's putting the trip together. Each person that we add to our cruise, to our group, we get points that can be used for things on board, such as a happy hour, a brunch, um, maybe even decide to put cash on your account, not cash, but credits on your account. There's just several different things that it opens this up to. The more of those points that we earn and the more people we get to join our group, the more benefits we get. Another thing, it's just really fun to travel in a group, especially to Alaska, to sort of, fellowship and, bond over a common experience. Because you see things and you're like, you want to get back to the ship and like, you wouldn't believe what I saw. I saw this eagle and I was just like, the beak on that thing and the talons, I never realized how scary they look, but they look scary. Beautiful birds, but they're scary. Um, so those are kinds of reasons why you might want to travel with a group. So why did I pick 2027? Well, the reason why is so we would have a better choice of staterooms. Um, I saw a thing today where it said that Carnival was booked 85% already for this year's, I'm sorry, Alaska cruises. So that tells you how popular they are. They're very popular with every cruise line that goes there. And so we wanted to have better spots. Another thing is if you're going in 2027, September of 2027, that gives you an entire year, almost a year and a half to save money and be able to go. So that's why I picked 2027. Now, I've already got some pushback. Well, this is going to be during football season. Yeah, well, um, you know, priorities, I guess. Um, Now, hopefully, you'll decide that you can maybe watch the game on board the ship. I don't know. Um, but yeah, that's a really good time because kids are already in school, most of them. And it's sort of the shoulder season for Alaska. They're winding down. So um, it won't be as crowded, hopefully. Um, the last cruise I went on on the same, it wasn't the same exact route, but I would say the average age of the person that was on the ship was probably 60. And at night, everything was dead. So the friends in my group, we would go to the disco or go to a karaoke or some of those things, and we'd be the only ones there. So people on this trip are more there for the scenery. It's a different vibe than going on Carnival, going into the Caribbean. So let's talk pricing. So current pricing for this particular cruise, it starts as low as $909 per person, and that's for an interior room. So that's a room inside the ship with no windows. The ones that I have in the block that I reserved, they start at 1564 per person, and that's for a balcony. And you're not locked into the ones that I reserved. If you want a better room, like if you want a suite, I'm not going to stop you. Um, you we can do a suite. If you want to do a different kind of balcony than the ones that I have reserved, you can do that. But I do have those blocks of rooms reserved. Right now, I have eight, and you know, I've tried to pick them in good locations in a variety of places. So, what's included in your fare? Of course, you have your accommodations, meals, basic drinks, and basic drinks are things like tea, coffee, water, and coffee. I mean, like brewed coffee, like at the restaurant you would get, not like the specialty coffees. The taxes and fees are included in all the entertainment. Some of the things that are going to cost you extra. Um, Drinks, soft drinks, those are going to cost you extra. Any alcoholic beverages, those are going to cost you extra. Those fancy coffees, the coffee bars, those are going to cost you extra. And premium dining, um, I was on and we went to the premium steakhouse that was there. It was very good. And, but it was extra. Internet's also extra. Other things that aren't included, those excursions that I was talking about, those will be things that you'll choose on your own. And when you go on those you'll see that each one of them has a different kind of price, and they vary. I mean, some of them are under $100, and some of them can be on all the way up to 1,000 or even more. I don't know. I haven't seen the latest list of excursions for that. And travel insurance or travel protection is not included. So that will kind of help you judge and decide how much you need to save for the trip. So for a limited time special, um, if you book a stateroom in the reserve block that I made, um, we will add $100 ship credit to your stateroom account. And this is only good until May 5th. And again, this is only good for the ones that are in the block that I reserved. And I'm going to show you those blocks. So there's two types of cabins. There's the standard balcony, and then there's the obstructed balcony. We have two obstructed balconies. And if you can see there in the picture, you can see the lifeboat is right outside that window, but you can still see the ocean. Um, I stayed in an obstructed balcony before, and it didn't look exactly like that. It had a tarp over it. but we were still able to sit out on the balcony and enjoy the scenery. So, um, you know, it's a risk, but I say it's probably a really good risk. You're not going to be in your room much anyway. This particular ship has so many places that you can go that you don't need to be in the room. But anyway, the standard balconies, we have um, four levels that that I have blocked off. 8A, 8B, 8C, and 8D. And I know that doesn't mean a lot to you, but it tells you where they are on the ship. So 8A, we only have one left, and then we have two of each one of the others left. Um, and when you contact me for pricing, I can go in and look and see what the current prices are and if there are any promos that we can do that will help out on the pricing or the deposit. So that's just a little bit a view of what the ship looks like. The three decks that I have reserved, all the rooms are on these particular decks. The obstructed balcony, the 7A, it's these right here on deck five. They're the pink ones. 8A is the one where we have one left. It's on the main deck and it's these purple ones. 8B are the yellow ones. They're on deck four, which is the main deck. They're also on deck six, and you can pretty much pick where on the ship you want to be if you pick that particular level. 8C are the pink ones. Those are right smack dab in the middle here on deck five. You also have them at the end on deck six and on the end, the front of the ship. That was kind of a faux pas. It's a ship. At the front of the ship. Um, 8D, these are the ones that are more expensive. Those are right there, smack dab in the middle of deck six. Now we have 8E and 8F that are not in the block. But if you decide that you wanted to do those, you can. And those 8E, those are the ones that are at the very back of the ship. So let's talk deposits and final payment information. So if you want to take advantage of the special we've got going on those blocks that I reserved, the deadline for that is May 5th. And you have to book that day and you have to pay the deposit. Currently, the deposit is $400 per person. So if you've got two people going, that's $800, and that's a lot. But I will check and see what promos are going on. Let me grab my notes. So for right now, they have a special where it's $200 deposit per person. It ends on the 31st. And so that one is one where if you pay it, it's a non-refundable deposit. Another one is the early saver low deposit, and I think that depends on several different factors, what that particular deposit is. Um, my Aunt Susan and I are going, and our deposit was $298, and we were able to get into that particular promo. It also ends on the 31st, but that depends on where the room is, which class that you're picking. Also, we were previous guest on Carnival, so we had that credit, and we got some special, not pricing, but some special breaks on that. So it's really important. If you're interested in doing this, don't let that $400 a person hold you back from doing a reservation, because when you contact me, we can see what's going on and how much it can cost you. And it may be that, hey, we decide that we want to wait later than the 5th to pick something at a different promo. The thing is, we have between now and really June 5th of 2027 to reserve rooms. Now, like I said, the rooms go quick on these Alaska cruises, but you can decide anywhere between then and now that you want to go, and we'll be glad to have you because we can add you to our group and get more points. The final payment for the cruise, that will be due on June 5th of 2027. So I said a year and a half. It's almost a little over a year. After June 13th, the cancellation penalties begin. If you paid for a deposit that is a refundable deposit, after June 13th, you lose that deposit. And then every so many weeks, then they make it even a worse, an even worse penalty. Like you can only get half your money back, or it could be that at some point where it's already past the date and you don't get your money back. So those are some dates to be um, cognizant of. All right. One of the things that I wanted to tell you about, it's really important, and this really hits at home, especially with the TSA stuff that's been going on here lately. It's important to have either travel protection or travel insurance. Travel protection is what Carnival offers. It covers the cruise. Um, Sometimes if something happens, they will give you up to like 75% of cruise credit for future cruises that you can use. And it covers things like baggage loss, delays, um, medical emergencies, that kind of thing. Whereas travel insurance, and I offer travel insurance through a company called Chubb. Um, they cover your entire trip from the time that you get to the airport until the time you get back. It covers your flight, it covers your hotel, it covers any rental cars, it covers everything. I won't say everything on the trip, but it covers from the time you leave to the time you get back. Um, the thing is, with Carnival, there's pre-existing conditions that are excluded with the travel insurance. Now, I'm speaking specifically of Chubb. There's all other kinds of companies you can go with. Um, they waive any pre-existing conditions if you buy the insurance 21 days um, between when you book and when you purchase. Um, a little bit here about the medical emergencies. You can see here, there's some difference here. Medical emergencies with the travel protection is $20,000 med, and here it's $15,000 med. However, I will let you know when I do up a price for Chubb, there's three different tiers. This is the tier that I purchased, and it's the medium tier. If you want more medical coverage, you can get more medical coverage. And talking about the difference between them, um, so right now for two people, it's $330 cruise protection for this particular cruise from Carnival, whereas the medium tier from Chubb was $350. So not that much difference in price. One of the things I will say, I get commission from either one of these, but I would rather forego the commission and you get it from another company, and you can do that. You can shop around, and there's all kinds of other companies. One of the big competitors to Chubb is, I always called it Alliance, but that's not what it is. It's Alliance. Um, I had on my Norway trip, I had it from TravelX. There are other companies you can shop around. Just know I do get commission on those too, but I would rather forego the commission and then you go without some sort of travel protection. So, how do you book? Well, it's really easy. If you'll go to my website, seassummitsandskies.com, and at the top of the page, you'll see booking page. If you'll click on that, and you'll go down to where it says Alaska Group Trip, you'll see this little picture. You click on the bear, and it will take you to a secure form that you fill out, and it gives me your information and tells me what you're interested in. And if you want to, if you're on your regular computer, you can do a QR scan with your phone, and that will take you to that form as well. I know sometimes people will do this on their cell or their mobile, and it'll be hard to do that. It's probably easier for you just to go to seasummitandskies.com and do that. I'm going to come back to this page. So, what if you can't make our trip, the group trip? You may want to go on an alternate date, like I said, one that doesn't conflict with the football season. Um, uh, that's an option. You may decide, hey, I particularly don't like Carnival. I want to go with one of the others. We can do that for you too. You may want a different itinerary. Um, the one that we're going on is what's called a round trip, but there's also one called an open jaw, and that's where you'll start at a place like Seward or Whittier. And when you start in those, you can come a few days early and you can experience the interior of Alaska. Or it may start in Seattle and Vancouver. Most of them start in Vancouver. And you can go and then extend your trip. A lot of the cruise lines, they have land tours now that you can go on for a few days after, where you go on buses and trains and get to see things like Denali National Park and that kind of thing. One of the other things you may say, I'm not an Alaska kind of person. I need the seas and I need the sands. I need to go to the Caribbean. I can help you with that too. If you'll just fill out that same form that I told you about before, if you go to my website, you can go to that, and inside that, just make me a note somewhere and tell me that you're interested in booking some other cruise, or you can contact me at mark@seasummitskies.com. And I'm going to give you my phone number. I'm not going to post it here, but I'm going to give you my phone number. It's 256-580-6145. That is 256-580-6145. You can call and leave me a message there. And I'm going to go back to this page. So I'm going to look and see what kind of questions we have. So nobody has any questions? I'm going to wait just a little bit. Okay, I have a question coming in from YouTube. How do you dress for a cruise to Alaska? You need to have different kinds of outfits because the weather that time of the year in Alaska is different. On that particular cruise, there would be one day that when I originally went, that I wore shorts and it was fine. There's going to be probably a lot of misty rain, so make sure that you wear clothes that dry quickly. You might want to take extra pair of shoes. One of the things that I learned on my Norway trip, and the weather's kind of similar, is not to wear flannel because it absorbs water and you're just miserable the rest of the day. So think about wearing clothes in layers. On the day that I went on my whale watching trip in Juneau, I think it was like 38 degrees. It was really, really cold that day. So I had a winter coat, thankfully. So that's just a little bit of information about that. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me. And I hope that I've answered some of your questions. And if you would like to reach out to me, I would love to talk with you. Thanks again for joining me, and I will talk to you later.